Welcome to the On Deck podcast for all your baseball DFS needs with your superstar hosts, fantasy baseball experts, Casey, Bubba, and Bogman. On Deck podcast is sponsored by LineStar app, the #1 top-rated data and analytics tool for daily fantasy sports.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the On Deck MLB DFS podcast, brought to you by the wonderful people at LineStar Sports. Make sure you check them out on Twitter at LineStar app and at LineStar MLB. And most importantly, download the app in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store to give you everything you need to build your winning DFS lineups in the palm of your hands. Hope everybody had a good Thursday night, wild night of. We actually had good pitching. You can find me on Twitter at BDentric and my co-host, as always, on Twitter at Bogman Sports. Scott Bogman, how we doing, man?
I was doing good, and then we had some crazy weather in my area, rain and wind and lightning and thunderstorms, believe it or not, in Arizona that has made my connection here a little screwy. So hopefully we'll be okay the whole time, but it has been a little hit or miss. So we've started this up a couple times here. So stick with us. We'll be here, but other than the weather, a pretty decent night. I was disappointed Randy Arozarena was only 1 for 5, but like you said, good pitching tonight for sure.
Yeah, great pitching. Tanner Houck was great. Manaea was super chalky, and he got the job done. Buehler was great. Morton was great. Kim was these are all 20-plus point guys. We've been having trouble getting one 20-plus point guy at slate. There's really only one massive offensive production. That was Atlanta, but that's mainly a grand slam from Dansby Swanson. So it was a weird night to say the least. So hopefully you guys did pretty well on this one. And we move on to a massive 14-game Friday slate. Obviously, the 15th game is a Wrigley Field day game. So that's tradition unlike any other, folks. If you can ever do it, go to a Friday afternoon Wrigley game. You'll not regret it, I promise. But let's check out the 14 games. We'll get things cracking on this slate. And I got to make sure I'm on the right page this time so I don't screw it up again. But we have Atlanta at Philadelphia kicking things off on this one. Max Fried versus Zach Wheeler. Over under 7.5. Fried is 81 on both sites. Wheeler is 98 and 10-2. And this is the first of 14 games. And we got a lot of great pitchers tonight, Bogman. So who you liking in this one?
Yeah, because we have so many good pitchers, I'm going to pass on Fried, but I do like Wheeler. Last start versus Atlanta was on June 10th, 8 innings, no earned, 12 strikeouts, no walks. So I am all in on Wheeler. He's expensive, like those top tier guys are, but not crazy expensive either. So I like him. On the hitting side, there's little PVB versus Fried and JT Realmuto, 9 for 20, 2 doubles, 2 homers, and a triple. So 5 extra base hits against Fried, 5 for 15 for Harper with 2 homers, and against Wheeler, Freddie Freeman's 18 for 43. That's 419 average with 4 doubles and 2 homers. But Kutch, Jankowski, there's not too many bats to love here.
Yeah, this is pretty much a pitching game. If you want to go with the Kutches, Harpers, Realmutos of the world, you can. I'm pretty much like the pitching in this one. I like Wheeler's definitely in play. The strikeout upside is tremendous. I don't mind Fried. If you want to be in a tournament, he'll come in super low owned like he has lately. He's got that 30-plus point upside. He's also got a 6-point downside. So the floor and the ceiling are massive differences in a tournament, but he's not that expensive. So I don't mind him in that respect against this up and down Phillies offense. But I do like Wheeler quite a bit. And for that reason, I'm just going to pass on the bats for the most part in this game unless you're feeling frisky for some Philadelphia action. All right, Washington at Baltimore in this one. Patrick Corbin, Jorge Lopez, over under of 10. I love stacking against both these guys, Bogman.
Yep, I mean, Corbin's just getting smashed last 3 starts, 16 innings pitched, 13 earned, 8 strikeouts, 7 walks. He is having a horrific season. Lopez is always terrible. So let's just go with bats. Let's go Mancini, Hayes, Ramon Urias, Cedric Mullins, Pedro Severino, all have been hitting for Baltimore. On the Washington side, we've got Soto. You got to pay up for Soto and Turner, obviously. Josh Bell is fairly expensive as well. Josh Harrison is cheap. You mentioned Trace Barrera the other day. He's been hitting well. He's cheap, 21 and 25. Alcides Escobar is still cheap at 32 and 27. So, like you said, bats in this one.
Yeah, tons of bats. I'm with you. Give me some Baltimore action here. Mancini's expensive, but you said it. Hayes, Urias, Mountcastle, Mullins can hit lefties. Lots of value when it comes to the Baltimore side of things. And Yeah, I have no problem. Like, it's the game stack. Over-under's 10 for a reason. Soto's worth the price of admission. Turner's worth the price too. But you mentioned you have Harrison, you have Berea, Escobar. There's value. Even Bell's only 4K. So you can mix and match a stack here. No problem with the game stack. If I got to pick one side, I'm going Baltimore for the value and the ability to attack Patrick Corbin all day and twice on Sunday. So give me some action in this game. All Z-Bats. New York Yankees at the Boston Red Sox. Garrett Cole, Eduardo Rodriguez, over under 8.5. Cole's 10K on DK, 10.5 on FanDuel. Erod's 83 on both sides. Cole seems to have figured it out over the last few starts, so he's in play for me. I love Erod. This Yankees lineup they're throwing out there right now, Bogman, I think the AAA team might strike fear in you after like the third batter in that lineup. So give me Erod at $8,300 tonight.
Well, let me help you with Erod too here. His 3 starts against the Yankees, 17 innings pitched, 5 earned runs. That's a 2.65 ERA, 23-3 strikeout to walks as well. So
sounds good.
Erod is our guy, especially at this nice cheap 8,300 price on both sites. Obviously, Cole is in play as well. Like you said, last 2 starts, 15 innings pitched, 1 earned, 23 strikeouts to 4 walks. So I think he's okay without the sticky stuff. But this makes me out on all the bats. Hard pass. Thank you.
Yep, I'm out. Like on a 14-game slate, I don't have to get too cute if I don't want to. Like if I want to get cute, I'd rather go some Phillies versus Max Fried than go to this game. So we have other options on this slate to attack. So give me the pitchers in this one, and especially give me Eduardo Rodriguez. Big fan of him at $8,300 on both sites. San Diego Padres, the Miami Marlins. Miami keeps messing with their pitching all week. I don't think we've accurately talked about one Miami pitcher yet this week.
I feel like we've talked about Zach Thompson 3 days in a row.
Yeah, like, and the one time was Alcantara, then he goes on the bereavement list, and they do this, then this, and it keeps changing. It was supposed to be Thompson yesterday, and then they went with an opener today, and then Holloway. Right. So yeah, here we are again doing the dance. Musgrove's $8,400 on DK, 79 on FanDuel, and Thompson's 88 and 94. I'm still not paying for Thompson against San Diego. Any interest in Musgrove versus Miami offense that without Chisholm, without Cooper, it's not good.
I mean, maybe a little bit, but he hasn't been at his best recently either. So I think on a slate this big, I just kind of don't want to mess with any pitching here. I'll stick to bats. Jesus Aguilar, 3 for 6 with 2 homers against Musgrove. So he sees him real well. Marte, Rojas, Duvall have all been hitting, but everyone in San Diego, we've said it the whole week, they've all been hitting, leading the league in runs since the break. Tatis, Pham, Hosmer, Myers, Machado, Cronenworth, Mateo. Mateo's 2,000 free on both sides, basically. So if he's in the lineup, he's a good option. But anyone in San Diego is great right now. Yeah,
they're all great. Some are expensive. Some are. Machado, I wrote him up for an article on Thursday, and just seeing what he's done over the last 5 or 6 games, he has, I think, is like a 65 to 70% hard hit rate. It's ridiculous what he's doing right now, and no one talks about him because Tatis is just a baller. So you got that going for you. And the other guy I'll mention, because they're all in play, as you said, we've talked about this a million times. The only other guy I would mention, you mentioned Mateo's free, Profar's free as well. And he's in the lineup hitting 7th, and he's been productive. So those are the kind of guys that if you play the chalky Tatises of the world, makes your lineup different. So you can splash it a little bit with some San Diego if you choose. St. Louis at Cincinnati on this one. Wade LeBlanc versus Tyler Mahle. Great American Small Park. Over under of 10. Mahle's 93 on DK, 76 on FanDuel. LeBlanc, Any interest in either pitcher on this one? Or are we all about the bats on this one?
No, I kind of like Mahle. Mahle against St. Louis this year. 12 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, 17 strikeouts to 3 walks. So nice track record here. Cardinals have been good, but not at their absolute peak right now. So I kind of like Mahle. There's a little bit of PVB against both these guys. Castellanos 4 for 6 with a homer against LeBlanc. Oh, that's right. The wrist. Totally forgot. See that's the kind of automatic mode I get doing some of these stats here. Molina 9 for 20 against Mahle. 5 for 13 for Votto against LeBlanc with a bomb. 6 for 18 for Goldie with a double and a triple. And then Bader, DeYoung, O'Neill have been good, but India, Aquino is cheap, and he's been hitting 27-22. Kyle Farmer's been cheap as well. So, but my main interest here is Mahle.
I don't mind Mahle. He's been very, very good. He's a good tournament pitcher. I wouldn't play him in cash because that's had the walk issues from time to time, and that just derails the whole train. When he's not walking guys, though, the strikeouts, like you mentioned, have been there, and he's been very, very effective. So I think he's a good tournament play, especially on FanDuel at 7,600. Hoping he goes 6+ would be outstanding. I like some Cincinnati bats. You got Votto. I think Aquino is a phenomenal price. He's been hitting in some good spots in that order versus lefties. India. So I don't mind some Reds in this one. Great American Small Park. Anytime I can have some fun there against a pitcher like Wade LeBlanc, you can sign me up for that kind of action. Tampa Bay at Cleveland on this one. We got Big D Mountain, Rich Hill versus I wear puka shells and think I'm still cool, Zach Plesac. Hill's 79 on DK, 74 on FanDuel, Plesac 73 and 74. Two things real quick. Hill stinks with no sticky stuff.
Yeah.
Plesac, he stinks too. So do you want either pitcher? Because the one thing I will say, both these offenses are sketchy as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is just not a fun game to invest in. Yeah, I'm going to pass on both pitchers. Like you said, Rich Hill, without the sticky stuff, is awful. Plesac, his high strikeouts in the last 5 starts he's had is 4. So not really interested in either one of these guys. Give me bats. Jose Ramirez, 4 for 8 with a double and a homer against Hill. 3 for 8 for Ahmed Rosario with 2 doubles. 4 for 12 for Franmil against him. Zimmer, Daniel Johnson has been hitting. Both these guys are cheap. Harold Ramirez has been hitting. He's cheap. The Rays are a little more expensive. Rosarena, off night tonight, but he has been good. Mejia hit a triple tonight. He could be in there. Lau, 44 and 35. Joey Wendell's been at least hitting. So a little sketchy. If I'm going to buy a bat here, it's probably going to be either Jose Ramirez or one of the cheap tribesmen here.
Yeah, it's a tough one because like part of me says I want to attack these pitchers, but these offenses have been so bad. It's a 14-game slate. How cute do I want to be? I said you don't need to be. This would be getting pretty cute if you want to go here. Like I'd rather go here than some of those other games we talked about, like Boston, New York. I'd rather come here type situation. J-Ram did return on Thursday from his little day-to-day situation, but I think Franmil is a great play. Not too expensive. You're playing him for a tournament anyways. He went deep on Thursday. Obviously, he's been just smoking the baseball since returning from the IL. So I think Franmil is a very good value at 41 on DK, 36 on FanDuel. On the flip side, you mentioned Mejia. I've been kind of pumping him for a little bit. He's actually starting to hit like the prospect we thought he was. So I think he's a good value. You can mix and match some other guys. I'm pretty much passing on most of this game when it comes to offense. Toronto at the New York Mets. Steven Matz returns to the Jays. Good for the Mets. Against Tyler McGill. Over under 8.5 on this one. Matz is a whopping, where did I have that price tag at? He's cheap. He's 71 on DK because they just love him so much. And he's 7K on FanDuel. And then you got Tyler McGill at 9K and 7,200. McGill's been good, but do you have interest in attacking Toronto with him?
Well, I think he's a contrarian play. I don't have him like I have pitchers listed for when we go over them at the end. Nobody here. So, but I get him as a contrarian play. I mean, the Mets have scored the 3rd most runs since the break before Thursday. So, not interested in Mats even a little bit. Let's stick to bats here. Let's go with Brandon Nimmo. Let's go with Pete Alonso, Dom Smith, James McCann, and then Vlad, George Springer, Teoscar, Gurriel. I'm picking out of that group.
Yeah, no, I like that quite a bit. The Mets side of things, their bats have slowly been heating up, which is good to see. Guys like J.D. Davis is swinging it really, really well. He can come in at some nice value. You mentioned Big Meat Pete Alonso, the polar bear. He's a fun one. Conforto, Dom Smith, all starting to swing the bat. So I don't mind a little Mets action here versus Steven Matz making his return from the IL. I think that's a spot you can get to. McGill's one of those guys. I don't mind him in a tournament like you said. I'm just worried sometimes he doesn't go deep enough because he gets into a pitch count issue and he's a young arm. But the strikeouts
he gets
are
that
always
pitch
there.
count because the strikeouts are high. So
yep, exactly. Strikeouts are always there. So if he can sneak in 5, I'd be really pumped. So I'd rather have him on FanDuel and roll the dice than on DK, but it's going to be tough. Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim at the new looking Minnesota Cruiseless Twins. Cobb, Happ, over under of 10. Cobb 79 on DK, 87 on FanDuel. Happ 80 or 61 and 66. In all honesty, Boggs, Cobb is in play for me tonight.
Yeah, I mean, 2 out of his last 3 have been quality. I'm not like I don't have him on my list, but I get it. Minnesota losing pieces on offense as well. So I understand that. I think I more want to stack against Happ. Like, look, Happ had a great start the last time out. I'm not going to bet on him to do it 2 times in a row. He's been horrible this year. So, give me guys like Simmons, who's 3 for 10 with 3 doubles against him. Jose Iglesias, 5 for 13 with 2 doubles against him. And then Fletcher, Ward, Marsh, Ohtani. I'm going to pick out of that group for this game.
Yeah, it's a great night for Fletcher, and I do love Cobb. I already said that. Like I liked Cobb even before the Cruz trade. That just makes it a little juicier there because Cobb's actually pretty good and not expensive. But Fletcher's a great spot there. Obviously, Ohtani's always in play, but it's a good night to get some Max Stassi in your life. I think that's a good one. Go up against J.A. Happ. So keep an eye on the right-handed bats because the righties have just spanked J.A. Happ this year. Chicago White Sox, Milwaukee Brewers. This is one to sit down, get your popcorn, and enjoy. Lucas Giolito, Freddie Peralta. I tweeted out, I think it was earlier on Thursday, one of the beat writers for, I think, the Brewers put the pitching matchups for the week. And I said, this is playoff level pitching matchups, all 3 games.
Yeah.
So we get Giolito Peralta to start off the weekend, over under 7.5. Gio's 96 and 98, Peralta 99 and 93. Both are in play. I'd rather have Peralta over Gio. Both in play for me.
Same. I would rather have Peralta too. They're both in play, like you said. Giolito, good last time out. He hit a couple bumps there, but I think he's going to be okay, which makes me out on bats in this game because, like you said, playoff level pitching matchup.
Yeah, I don't want any bats. If the bats go off, I'll tip my cap because this should be like, I think 9 out of 10 times this is like a 2-1 ball game. So just give me that. Give me Peralta. Give me Gio, preferably Peralta, as we said, and we'll go from there. Detroit at Kansas City. Willie Peralta versus Chris Bubick in this one. We have our Wiley Willie, whatever you want to call him, versus Chris Bubick. Over under 10.5 on this one. This is why we don't get cute on certain games, guys. This is like the third or fourth total over 10, and we're not even in Colorado, for crying out loud. I don't want either pitcher, Bogman. What say you?
Look, I know you just said don't get cute, and I understand
Peralta.
that. But Peralta, 2 of his last 3 have been quality, and the Royals since the break are, I think they're bottom third of the league. At least I think they're like 23 or 24 in runs scored. So I like Peralta, maybe, but there's not enough K upside to really.
That's the biggest thing. The strikeouts just aren't there for him.
Yeah, it's not enough K upside to really game it, but it does make me off of Royals hitters. Not like I was in on a ton of them anyway. So I'll stick to just Detroit bats here. Miguel Cabrera's 4 for 7 against Bubic with a bomb. Akil Baddoo has been hitting. Scope, Grossman, Candelario. We saw Haas go deep. Today, Harold Castro has been hitting if he's in there, 29 and 2000. So I'll stick to just some Tigers bats.
Yeah, once again, Detroit, massive value tonight. Like Orioles and Detroit, both in great spots, great values. Detroit's been swinging it great. They've been over 500 since like May 1st. They're hitting it really well, especially against lefties. You mentioned Cabrera, but Baddoo, Jonathan Scope, Robbie Grossman, Candelario, all these switch hitters, Castro and company. I think it's a great time to stack up some Tigers yet again on this slate, which will help you pay up for pitching. But phenomenal spot for Detroit. I don't mind going against Peralta for Kansas City if you want, but he has limited the damage. You are correct there. He just doesn't strike guys out, but limits the damage. So if you are like a Whit Merrifield, Hunter Dozier's been actually good of late, but give me Detroit side. Give me Detroit in this one. Texas at Houston. We have Colby Allard versus Jake Odorizzi, over under of 9. Allard is 55 and 67. Odorizzi 85 and 71. Odorizzi seems broken of late. Are you trusting him?
Yeah, no, I'm not in on Odorizzi. He was starting to get a nice little push there, and he looked decent. But I'm just gonna pass. I would love to stack some hitting here, but hitting on both sides of this game has not been great as of recent. Gurriel is 3 for 7 with a double and a homer against Allard. Tucker's been hitting, Altuve, Brantley. But no one in Texas has been hitting. So I think maybe a couple Astros bats, but that's all I'm interested in.
Yeah, I never have a problem going to the Astros bats if you want. They're like just behind like the Padres and the Dodgers of the world. Just at any moment they could score 12 runs and no one would be surprised, like in a blink of an eye. So, and Altuve, I think, is one of the better plays on the entire slate, just because as much as the Astros have been struggling, Altuve just continues to hit. Like he's been so good. So I don't mind Altuve, Tucker, Brantley, like you mentioned. I think there is a little bit to like here with Houston. Maybe they get overlooked, maybe they don't, but I think Houston stack is in play. If not, now Altuve one-off is one of the better plays on the slate, period. 3 more games to go before we get there. Make sure you give a rate and review on iTunes for the podcast. We would truly appreciate it there. And if you'd like to watch our pretty faces talk to you about fantasy baseball and DFS 5 nights a week, check us out on the LineStar YouTube channel. You can give it the old thumbs up, subscribe, and share the good stuff there as well. Pittsburgh at San Francisco. We got the Cool Chad versus Johnny Cueto. Over under 8.5 on this one. Cool is 66 on DK, 78 on FanDuel. Cueto 75 and 73. Cool's been good of late. Are you going in front of this Giants offense?
No, I'm not. No. Look, Cueto's been pretty good too, but Pittsburgh's been scoring runs
Yes,
as
they
well.
have.
So no pitching for me in this game. I'll stick to some of these cheap Pirates bats. You like making a stack out of these guys when they're this cheap, and I think you can again. Nagowski 23 and 27, Wilmer Defoe 22 and 2000. Brian Reynolds is still cheap 38 and 32. Stallings 34 and 27. Oliva 2000 on each. Ben Gamble 22 and 24. So I think I'd like to pick a couple cheap options to get some better bats in my lineup from this Pittsburgh lineup. And then on the San Francisco side, your boy Thyro still hitting, getting more expensive though, 38 and 24 now. Donovan Solano 31 and 23. Alex Dickerson is a cheap option. Yastrzemski's been hitting, so just bats for me here.
Yeah, for me, it's mainly you got Wade, Yastrzemski, Posey. Those would be my main targets. You can build around that. I think that they're all in great spots where it's cool, of course. And yeah, the Pirates would be like my third option behind the Orioles and the Tigers for value, but they've been good. Nagowski, Reynolds is still too cheap in my opinion, but Gamble, like the Gamble Nagowski combo and with Defoe, those three guys, they hit like 4, 5, 6 in the lineup sometimes, or 3, 5, 6 or something. They're on that little middle of the order, and they're all stupid cheap. Like it's ridiculous how cheap they are. So it's like I tell people, they go, "Why do you play the Pirates?" I said, because like twice a week they're productive. No one plays them, and it allows you to buy everything else. You're not going to win in DFS tournaments every night, but if you can win once or twice a week, you're going to be so happy. Like so happy. It's as bad as that sounds, that's all you're shooting for. And that's the kind of goofiness that it takes. That's why I mention them a lot. It's because they do go off, and like Nagowski went deep the other day, and Gamble had like a double and 2 RBIs. Those two guys alone, like you don't have to make big stacks, just 2 to 3 guys. Does it all for you. And it's a good way to go about it. Colorado at the Los Angeles Dodgers. You got the Road Rockies versus the Dodgers. You got Chichi Gonzalez taking the bump against David Price as they're stretching him out. He went about 63 pitches his last start. Are you buying into David Price just yet, or do you need to see him stretched out a little more?
It's going to be a no from me, dog. So let's stick to, I might like him if he was going to go deeper, but just because Colorado hasn't been hitting, but I just don't trust him to stick in the game that long. So give me bats in this game. Lots of PVP versus Chichi Gonzalez. Chris Taylor 3 for 10 with a triple and 2 homers. So all 3 of his hits have gone for extra bases. 4 for 10 for Betts if he's even in the lineup. 2 doubles for him. Justin Turner 4 for 13 with a double and a homer. 9 for 28 for CJ Cron against Price with 3 doubles and a bomb. And then Will Smith, AJ Pollock could go in there as well. I'll just stick to mainly Dodgers bats.
Yeah, mainly Dodgers bats for me as well. Yeah, the Betts thing sucks because it's like day to day, and then a report comes out Thursday. Well, he might need to go on the IL now. So it's like, come on, guys, like
just put him on the IL.
Yeah, get your ass together. It's really ridiculous. But Chris Taylor continues to hit. Max Muncy didn't go deep tonight. I guarantee you he goes deep on Friday. I guess it's too good of a matchup again. Justin Turner's back. Pollock, I like them all. Dodger stack. It's easy. It should be popular. It's a great stack. Great stack on Friday night to send you into the weekend. So not much more to say about that. Enjoy. Muncy and Taylor, the top 2 plays, if I have to narrow it down for you. Last game of the night, Oakland Athletics, Seattle Mariners. Frankie Montas first. Oh, baby. Frankie Montas first. Yusei Kikuchi over under 8 on this one. Montas 87 on DK, 86 on FanDuel. Kikuchi 78 and 89. I think both these guys are in play, Boggs.
They are. I mean, I know you're watching the game. I was rolling my eyes at Kenley Jansen trying to give another one away. He's got 2 outs. But
I thought that was about to leave the yard, and I was about to have to stop recording for a second.
Yeah, I mean, that is not looking great for him right now. But anyway, in this game, 2 quality starts in a row for Montas. 6 innings pitched, 4 earned runs in 11 strikeouts and 3 walks in his game against Seattle on May 24th. Kikuchi, 12 earned runs in his last 2 starts. I'm going to let him get right before I get him in there. So no Kikuchi for me, but I'm in on Montas. So I'll stick to some A's bats here as well. Chapman, 4 for 13 with a bomb. Olsen, Seth Brown, Lowry, Mark Canha, all been hitting. So I'll stick with Montas and some A's bats.
Yeah, I'll stick with both pitchers here. Montas I definitely like more than Kikuchi, but I know what Kikuchi can do. He's had a couple of rough starts, but back at home against this A's team he's familiar with, I'll take my chances there. It's either don't use them, but I'm not in favor of either bats. Like we saw, the Thursday night game was a low-scoring game. This A's offense, it's kind of in a funk right now. So I'm
probably staying mainly away from this game.
Yeah, this game is pretty much take some pitchers or kind of let it go. If you're going to play a late night offense, you play the Dodgers and the Giants. That's what you do. So don't worry too much about this one. This is your pitching game, or just kind of like, hey, they're playing baseball in Seattle. Cool for them. That kind of situation. But before we get to the fun part of the show, that everyone wants to hear about or just watch the tweet for, what pitchers you like once again on this slate?
Well, if I'm going with like main guys, Erod probably at the best value, like we mentioned before, number one on my list. Then I go Wheeler, Cole, Peralta, Giolito. Those are my main guys. Secondary guys, Molly. I mentioned Peralta, Montas. Those are my guys.
My main guys is Peralta, Erod for sure. Those are like my top two, just based on price alone. Then you can sprinkle in some Wheeler and Cole and Gio, like you said. But I want that Peralta Erod combo. That's probably my favorite 1-2 punch on the slate. And then I think Montas is interesting. I think Cobb is interesting as well, especially because Cobb and like even Freed won't come in that high owned. So you can have some fun with that as well. I don't think you need to go too cheap at pitching, as we mentioned. A handful of cheap places to attack with the bats. What stacks you like on this slate?
For stacks, I like Washington and Baltimore, either side, probably like you mentioned before, more Baltimore. The Angels versus Happ, the Mets versus Mats. I like Detroit versus Bubic, and the Dodgers against Colorado.
Yeah, Washington, Baltimore side a little more, as we said. Cincinnati versus Wade LeBlanc. I can get behind that one as well. Going to the next page here, I think we got Houston. I like him against Colby Allard, especially Jose Altuve in that one. Giants, Dodgers as well are the other ones I kind of have circled on the slate. But that Detroit team, Detroit as well. Detroit could be quite fun too. All right, everybody, the moment of the evening you've all been waiting for. Make sure you follow LineStar on Twitter at LineStar app and at LineStar MLB, because they tweet out all kinds of great stuff all day, every day. Tweet just tons of great information. And one thing they tweet out every day is the home run, at least Monday through Friday. They tweet out home run calls of the day from Bogman, myself, and Ryan Humphreys. If you retweet the tweet, 3 lucky retweeters will get paired with each one of us. And if our guy goes deep, you get some free swag on this slate. Like Bogman's wearing a shirt right now. If you're watching the LineStar YouTube channel, that could be some free swag for you. And that is how cool it is. Product placement, folks. That's simple. So Bogman, on this Friday, going into the week and finishing off another week of DFS action, who's your home run call of the day?
I'm going to go ahead and go with Jose Ramirez against the non-sticky stuff, Rich Hill. So go ahead and give me Jose Ramirez. Second half Jose is one of the best players in baseball every year.
You know what's going to happen now. He showed you the shirt. He held up the mug while he did it. So he's got Jose Ramirez. My hat's across the room, so I can't really help you right now. I usually wear it, but I got my hat. I wanted to go to Juan Soto, but that feels like cheating because I used him 2 nights ago, but I feel like he goes deep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay in the same game. And we're going with Mr. Home Run Derby himself, Trey Boo-Boo. Trey Boo-Boo going deep off of Patrick Corbin, kicking off the weekend in Baltimore in style. So you got J-Ram. I got Trey Boo-Boo. We'll see who Humphreys has. I expect a lot of offense. Let's put it that way. I mentioned there was 4 games over 10, a couple over 9.
Yeah.
Then there's some pitchers. This is a fun slate. That's the kind I like, where it's not like complete garbage. There's a little bit of everything on it. So it's a ton of fun. And if you want all the fun in the world, make sure you give a rate and review again. We'll be back with you guys on Monday. So have a fun and safe weekend. You can follow me on Twitter at BDentric, Bogman at Bogman Sports. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you guys later.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you for listening to the LineStar app On Deck podcast. Download LineStar app from the App Store or go to LineStarApp.com for all your DFS baseball needs. If you love the On Deck podcast, support KC, Bubba, and Bogman by rating and subscribing. Good luck.